that'll be great.
Okay. Because I'll kind of try to run through a lot of what's available, and some of it you might want to use, and some of it, I'll just kind of let you know that it's in there. And then, later in the semester, if if you need something that you aren't using, you'll kind of know, what's available. So I guess to kind of start, next semester for your courses, are you teaching? I'm guessing it'll be online, right? At least to
Yeah.
start.
At least to start. Yeah, you're right.
And then what about will it be synchronous? Like will you be giving your
Um,
lectures live?
it'll be synchronous. I think since we are starting online, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do blended, like even though they're going to be on campus, I'm just going to make it optional for them to come to class. They can attend via Zoom. So that's what I got them to do
Okay.
last in the fall also. So that worked. The first years wanted to come to class, but the sophomores, the juniors, they'd rather stay home and do it via Zoom. So they were really comfortable doing it via Zoom.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool. And then when you lecture, what does that look like? Are you and students going through exercises, or like are they doing it along with you, or is it more of like is there any like interactivity or any videos that you show?
I for now I don't have any videos in my lectures. So what I do, it's physics. So like we in a typical semester we go through for 206 we go through 13 chapters. For 201 I do 11 chapters. So that's what that boils down to is like one chapter per week, because like right
Hmm.
now I'm doing four exams in the semester just to break it down to small units so that it's easy for them to study, but it's just way too much work for me. I'm just thinking in the future I'm just gonna give them maybe two exams instead of four, so just to cut down on the work for me. It's just like I'm continuous, it felt like I'm continuously grading. So I'm
Yeah.
based off of what I have been doing. I've been giving them four exams and then a final. So the good thing about that is for them it's like 2 to 3 chapters each test, so that it's easy for them to study. But it's more frequent. So what I do is
Mhm.
like like I said, it's pretty much one chapter per week, and then during the week that they are taking an exam, Monday and Wednesday classes, I do not do any new lecture. We just focus on doing some review problems in the class. So um,
Right.
so it's so one chapter per week. That means like these chapters in high school they have seen, like the in high school they have seen some of the earlier material, but like more towards the end they haven't seen them before. So if I just get them to read the text, even though some of them might be able to understand what the chapter is talking about, most of the material at least, but there's always going to be students who would not do the reading, or even if they did the reading, they wouldn't understand, especially when it comes to
Yeah.
applying what they have read. So, what I therefore do, I mean, at least what I feel is that I need to go through the principles. So I go through the principles. After I discuss the principle, I just try and do some numerical problems, 2 to 3 numerical examples. I do pretty much all the textbook examples with them, and I actually supplement them with my PowerPoint, the one that I use with the answers written down, so that they can either print it out or they can just refer to it later. But during the lecture, since I'm going through these examples, they can write them down as well. So I give them homework. It's just no, it's. I think if physics was the only subject that they were studying, they'd do well. But unfortunately, that is not the case. They have other stuff going on. Why? Um, So while I do understand that, it's just that I don't like to cut down on the material. I like to go through like the basic fundamental things that they are supposed to know, going after sort of like going over a chapter. I like to cover them so extensively, and for the final exam also I just tell them it's comprehensive, so they are supposed to know their physics. uh,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
it's it's
So
tough.
oh, sorry. Pardon.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No. Yeah. It's hard. So, in addition to being able to do the practical, they need to have a solid understanding of the conceptual
They need
side
to
of
have a
physics as
solid
well.
understanding. So they need to take something away. Like it's the engineering student, the students who use the night textbook. Like they are engineers, so they, even though they don't directly use these, they do need the principles that they learn in physics off and on in
Yeah.
almost in most subjects that they will take in their college life. So I think it's important
Oh,
they have a good fundamental understanding. It's just that they don't get to spend as time as they need for a subject like it's really tough. I understand that it's not
yeah.
easy.
Right. Yeah. 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 Absolutely. So I think some of the things that I'm going to kind of focus on and show you throughout are things that can help. You know, one, I think it sounds like anything that's going to help you cut down on grading,
Okay.
might be beneficial to you and would give you more time to focus on teaching. I think I'm gonna try to go through and see if I can find some things, either activities or quizzes or some sort of study tool for students that can help build that conceptual understanding, so that when you come into when you come in for your lecture, they at least if they haven't read, they at least understand the terms that you're using, maybe. Um, and then yeah, I guess we'll kind of start there and I'll show you what we have, and then I guess kind of give me feedback as I go along about
Okay.
things that might be helpful, or if things or especially if things won't be helpful. It's
Yeah, I think
that.
Corey, just to be frank, I think, see, you take a class of 50. There's always going to be students who are masters of managing their time well. So they're the
Hmm.
ones who do their work ahead of time. They're prepared, right? No matter what. And then
Yeah.
there's a spectrum of students. And then there are the students who are really lagging behind. They're just trying to catch up, play catch up.
Right.
So, and then it doesn't help if the material is hard, even if they make an attempt to read through the chapter or look at the PowerPoint, if they feel that it's taking up too much time, they're just not going to do it. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think I would benefit, like maybe going, if you can show me the videos that you might have, because I know students, for instance, they go to YouTube and they check out the videos. I really don't know, like these are random videos that they get from YouTube. They may or may not be good. So if you can just show me where they are, and then maybe get them to do some practice problems without me having to intervene and me spending any time on it. So things like that.
Yep. Yeah. No, yeah, and we definitely have all of that. There's the first thing I'll mention, I don't know if this would be of interest to you, so I'll kind of just do a brief explanation of what it is, and
Sure.
unless you're interested, we won't really get into it. But
Yeah.
so the first thing I do want to mention is, are you familiar with, or have you ever used like the in-class clicker questions?
No.
Okay. So we do have, so down here, they're called learning catalytics, but the in-class clicker questions are included with mastering. So all of your students have access to this. It's a subscription, but they have access with mastering. So it'll be no additional cost. And we have a library of questions built in there as well. So if during class, if you want to engage with students more, or if you want to do some sort of, like during the lecture, if you want to be able to kind of check in with their understanding on a particular concept, you could deploy questions to them that they would answer. They could answer them on their phone or on their browser, so they could do it in class or from home. You know, and it might just be, you know, it could be an example that you want them to work through, you know, and then they send the answer in, and you get that live response from students letting you know how well they understand the concepts. And so it could be used for, you know, for a problem where they're working through it, or it could be used for, you know, I'm kind of imagining at the beginning of class, if you want to know whether or not students understand some basic concept of waves, you would have a question, they would answer it, and then immediately you know how in depth you need to talk about this particular concept. And so if that's something you're interested in using, that may even have to be like a follow-up
So
discussion,
do
just
they have
because.
numerical problems in that as well?
Yeah, here, I can. I'll pull one up real quick for you.
Show me a numerical problem.
Yeah, let me 1217 lecture. And so you can set these up in different ways. You know, you can make it a quiz, you can make it automated throughout the lecture. Most instructors will deploy the questions manually. You can set them up to be their score to be based on participation or correctness. So some instructors will use it as like an attendance as well. Oops, sorry. Hey, create new question. I'm going to open up the library. Here we go. There's physics. So yeah, so there are 765 questions in here. And is there a particular concept you're interested in?
Let's say this is Knight's book. Let's say chapter 9. Find me a chapter 9 numerical problem.
Okay. All right. Here, let me. Do you know what's in chapter 9 offhand?
Energy.
Okay. All right. Let me see. Yeah, and so this is actually this library of questions is for all physics, both algebra and calculus based.
Let's take a look at conservation of energy.
All right, so we have 30 questions in here.
Where does it say 30 questions? I missed that.
Sorry, down here.
Okay, sorry.
On conservation of energy, what I'm looking for right here is, so we have different question types. Multiple choice is probably going to be a numerical question. A sketch is going to be, you know, like if you're doing vectors or something, there's going to be a lot of sketch questions. Ranking, you know, you can rank the answers, but I'll pull up one of these multiple choice. Oh, that's not a good one. So here's an example of one, A, B, C, D.
Yeah, it's more of a conceptual question. I want a numerical. I want to take a look at a numerical question. This doesn't look like a chapter 9 problem. Maybe hold on. Okay, yeah, let's take a look at this one.
Okay, look at this one, okay. Okay, yeah, and this one's looks conceptual as well.
Again, conceptual, yes.
Oh, shoot. Let me see if I can search by question type. See if we have any short answers in here. All right. This is conceptual. Conceptual.
And there's no way for you to get the questions chapter. So are you looking at chapter 12 questions?
So this bank of questions we have in here is just for all of our physics books. They're all like book agnostic. So I don't, you know, they could be, actually, honestly, they're not probably from any book. And so one thing you do is you can kind of pull through and see what would if any of these fit, and if they don't, you can always write your own as well. Typically, when an instructor's using this in class, they would use between maybe 2 to 5 at the absolute most questions in class. Just because and kind of just integrate it as part of the lecture, and they would just kind of add them in. So you can author them, and I can help you as we're getting started.
Yeah, the problem
author.
that I have is, Corey, now it's pulling up questions from Physics 207. This is not 206. I teach 206. So these are, while these are energy problems, they are not they are not general physics 1 energy problems. So how do I distinguish between 206 and 207? Because I don't want to be going through the list of questions. First of all, I don't have the time. So if it's just a hassle finding the questions, I'm just not going to do it, honestly.
Yeah, no, for sure. Well, yeah, then maybe this is something where, there's, I don't think there's going to be a good way to distinguish between, there's no way for us to even pull in like just the night questions or things that align just to the night book. So being able to distinguish the different chapters would even be even harder. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I
this
wish
may
there
be
was a
something
way
just
for me to I wish there was a way for me to see through all the questions without having to click through them. See, there are 6 and then there's a next. So that means there's 30 questions. So I need to click every time I need. So if I could have just scrolled down, that would have been easier. So.
Yeah. So if there was like a better way. Yeah. I mean, we can
Okay.
look at more, but you're still going to have to, you would still have to hover over to preview. And then if you want to see, if it's, like it may just be something where it does look like a lot of these, at least for conservation of energy, are conceptual questions.
Yeah. So yeah, this is a multiple choice question, but when I look at it, like it's just it's a conceptual question. So I could tell because there are no numbers. So maybe there's like if I hover through the list of questions, like yeah, maybe that's a numerical question because that has numbers, that second one, or even that one.
Let me try this one.
No. Why won't you hover? I really would like to see the questions, what they look like. No, that's not the one. Just go up a little bit.
Yeah. Sorry, the ones that we looked at before with the numbers were sketch questions, so I kind of ignored them. So the idea is that students they have this graph that they're presented with, and they have to, like, on their with their mouse or with their finger, they would have to fill in this graph.
Yeah, while this type of conceptual questions are okay, they can be a waste of time because like eventually they're gonna need to learn how to solve the question. So if there's a student who's really struggling, really struggling, then they would need to go into this much detail and then look at. But I think even this one, yeah, it's completing a bar chart for the process. It's just I think, I mean, there are energy bar charts in the book, but it's just the actual numerical problems that they are required to do as engineers, those are the types of questions that I want to give to them and then see if they have understood. So those are the ones that I want to just tackle the question on the spot. So let's say I discuss the work energy theorem or the energy conservation theorem, and then I give them a question to spot check to see whether they have understood how to apply it on the spot.
Yeah. And this is, and so most of the ones that are built in here are going to be conceptual questions because, the idea is that, you send this question out to them, and then they're just showing you whether they understand like the basic concepts of what are being discussed to kind of guide the lecture. And so, you can also author questions in here as well. So we could use the test bank and we could copy and paste questions into here if you wanted to deploy like some sort of like practical question. And so we can do that.
What
But
other
most of
places
the ones,
do we have on the Knight's textbook where they have questions? Now this is learning catalytics, right? So what about the other
yeah,
features? Maybe this
yeah.
is
And so
not.
these are yeah, yeah. And so these are only the lecture-based questions, and those are part of the live response. Those are not part of the item bank. Those are,
Okay.
like I said, they're book agnostic. And then, let me see. So there was, yeah, and then there was another item down here I wanted to show you, and this was for, they're called dynamic study modules, and this is definitely going to be for conceptual questions. This is for students to be doing outside of class on their own. And it's, for the most part, it's going to be to go along with reading to help them better understand those concepts.
Okay.
So the students that you had mentioned that, either they don't read, or if they read, they're not gaining any knowledge from that reading. These dynamic study modules are a really good thing to assign.
Okay, so I have to go in and select and assign questions from this, or can they just scroll through the different modules and then try and do whatever they like?
Yes, yeah, yeah. So they have this available to them. It's the same button that I just used, where they could do it on their own.
Yeah.
For the most part, students aren't going to do this unless we're assigning some sort of points.
Okay.
Whether it's homework points, participation points, extra credit points, it's going to be hard getting students to come in here on their own.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And the students that do are going to be the diligent students who are doing well anyways, But here, let me show you one of these just so you have an idea of how these work. And these are really made to be, to go along with the reading, because it's kind of hammering home the conceptual ideas. So it looks, very much like a reading quiz or just like a basic quiz. And students can, and it's adaptive as well. So students can answer and they can say that they are certain of an answer. They can choose two answers, and then it'll tell them, you are unsure and one of these two choices is correct.
So how am I, as a faculty member, go in and select the questions that I want them to do, or do I have to ask them to answer all the questions in the module?
Yeah. Okay. So we have. I'll show you how to make an assignment, how to make a quiz or an assignment where you're selecting the questions you want. What this is like an adaptive reading quiz that's going to walk them through what they should have been reading about. Like some of those concepts, and help them better understand what they had learned. And so for these are, it is a module of 20 to 30 questions. If there are ones you don't like, you can pull them out. But for the most part, when I'll show you how to do that.
Okay.
First I want to show you just kind of what it is in general, because it is different than any of our other quizzes, which is why, I kind of wanted to show you this separate from that assignment and quiz bank. And so the idea is that students are going to work on these on their own. For most instructors, when they assign these, even if there are questions in here they don't like, they typically will just leave them in this module, because they're going to be questions that are going to help the student, that the students are going to benefit from understanding.
Okay.
So one thing I want to point out is that as I'm answering these, I'm not getting the correct answer, and that's by design.
Okay.
So anytime I'm wrong, it will not give me the correct answer, and I'm trying to skip forward to number 8. These questions are broken into question sets of 8 questions. Okay. And after you've hit 8, instead of moving on to the new question, instead of moving on to the 9th question, you go back and review any question that you missed in that previous question set. Okay. And this is where it'll show you the question, what you answered, the correct answer, and then it'll give you content telling you why the correct answer is correct. And so the idea is kind of, for the students that aren't reading, this is going to walk them through what they should have learned in the chapter for those conceptual questions. And then hopefully, and these are typically going to be assigned before the lecture. So then when they come in for the lecture, they have this knowledge. They have an understanding of the conservation of energy. And, and these are not by any means going to help them, with the exercises that they should be doing. It's going to help them more with that conceptual understanding. And then during class, you'll spend time, hopefully the idea is that you'll spend less time understanding the concept of conservation of energy. And in class, you can work with them on the math, the physics of it.
Okay.
So I'm pretty much, this is kind of like the general idea, but again, it's for students after they've read, before they come into lecture. And then you get a nice dashboard as well, showing you similar to this. This is the student side, but similar to this, you'll get a dashboard showing you how students are performing on these questions.
So this is for the whole class or for individual students? How do they show?
What we're looking at right now is how I've performed so far on this.
Yeah, let's say I have 10 students in the class. So how do you know how I would see it as a faculty member?
Yeah, you'll have a dashboard that looks very similar to this, and it'll break down on what concepts the students are struggling on what concepts they're doing well on, how much time they're spending, how many times they had to retake a question before they got it right, because all these questions I got wrong are going to be put back into the module, and I'm going to have to get them right before I finish. Is this something that you could see assigning or even just like recommending to students?
Maybe, yeah. My biggest concern is, they're lacking some of the students are doing really well. They know how to study. And then for those other students who do not who lack the sort of like the know-how on how to study a subject like physics. I mean, I can assign this, but they're the ones who are struggling with a subject like mine. Plus, they might be having trouble with another subject, so the other subject. So I don't know. Yep. I wonder how much time they would have to go in and do this kind of assignment. So while I can give them incentive to go in and do this kind of thing, like I just give them extra credit and then they would do it, at least some of them for the points. But there are still students who are struggling in the classes. They really don't know. It's just kind of hard. Like you give them things, like for instance, in my classes, UD has this program called SI Leader Program. I don't know whether you're aware of it. So yep. I every semester I find SI leaders, and then so there are 2 sessions, 1 hour each, conducted every week. So when the students go into these sessions, they get to do problems. So what I do is I assign exam credit to the SI sessions. So 1% percent point for every session that they attend. So it's amazing how the students who are doing poorly in the class are the students who do not go to these sessions. It's the one that they are already doing well. The students who are doing well, they attend these sessions, they do the questions, they get the extra points, their grades are getting even better.
Yeah. Okay? Yeah.
So the students who are not doing too well, they while they do understand that there are points to be had, like, so between any 2 of my 4 exams, there's like 8 to 10 of these sessions. So that's like 8 points that they can add on top of their exam. That's like extra credit, right? So it's built in extra credit. You just go there, you do extra problems. They're not even graded. So I asked the SI leaders to collect these assignments. They collect them, but for attending, they get the points. They just don't want to do it. So it's just it's amazing. It is very frustrating because the students who do need the points are the ones who do not go to these sessions. So
no, for sure. And and these, and these dynamic study modules are definitely in that same area of like instruction where it's going to be the students that are doing well are going to be the ones that do well
but
on these.
yeah, but then again,
Um,
Corey, I do understand. I mean, I can, like, in addition to the SI, I can, maybe the SI sessions, the questions that they give are a little hard for them. Maybe they need more help with the conceptual understanding. Yeah, these are good tools that I can explore. So yeah, I appreciate you going through these different things with me, because um, the SI sessions, while they're conducted by the students, the students that I select are the ones who are doing really well. But these are students, and then, like, we as faculty
mhm.
members have struggle explaining concepts to the students. So the students who are doing the SI sessions might be going through something similar very well. So
Yeah,
so yeah, whatever
yeah.
different tools that we can give to them, depending on how comfortable they are using, yeah, maybe this is something else that I can do in addition to SI. So like I was saying.
Yeah, yeah, and it seems like this would even kind of it's in the same vein, but it's almost a balance because my guess is these SI leaders and these sessions they're running are less conceptual based and more
Uh-huh.
going through different
Yeah.
exercises, and so whereas these are more the concepts, and so they might kind of work together as well. Um, yeah, so I think these are really nice to kind of help students who don't do the reading or who don't do well on the reading, just to kind of, continue to get them to engage in
Mm-hmm.
the idea of conservation of energy.
Yeah.
Um, all right. So now we're going to jump into the assignments, which is where, we have all of our videos, the conceptual questions, the actual exercises and like the test bank. The learning catalytics and dynamic study modules live outside of this. And so that's why I kind of introduced those separately. So I'll create an assignment. Before I jump into that item bank, I am just going to put down as an aside, we have, you can copy assignments from your previous courses or other instructors' courses. We have pre-built assignments in here. So let me pull this in real quick. So if you want to go through, we just have like these, like the best of lectures. And so if you don't want to spend the time going through each question, this would be a good place to start where you can just figure out, okay, so I want to figure out I need 26 minutes of questions for chapter 1. And so that would be a good
Shall we
way to
check
do that.
chapter 9 or 8 or 9 if you are checking?
Yeah. So here we go. Yeah, and so I pulled up, these are like the standard questions. We have a challenging question set as well. And so what these are the most often assigned questions from chapter 9.
Okay.
And this looks like this is more on the conceptual side. Okay. Is this something that you think you would use? Like, are these the
No,
types of questions you're looking for?
this chapter 9, I spent 4 days um or 3 lectures going over it. The stuff that you
Mm-hmm.
are going over might be the ones that I look at in the first day of class. So this is basic stuff. So I'm still waiting to see. Um,
Okay. Let me switch over to the and what I had opened up was the pre-lecture homework.
okay.
So that would have been easier.
Okay.
And then this is on the other end. This is the challenging homework
Yeah,
assignment.
I don't mind getting them to work together in groups or outside of class or in
Mm-hmm.
class to sort of like help them understand the material, but like they should not um, not want to do these. So okay, now we are getting to some problems that look good. So
Good.
so if you can give feedback to someone, you see this problem 916, see how the way the, see, me as a faculty member, I know what I teach here. So, but like it's very hard for me to read. So I'm going to read this. It says 25 kilogram air compressor is dragged on up a rough incline from RVEC. I don't know how to read that. So it's a formatting
Oh, okay.
issue.
Oh, okay. And what should it look like?
Yeah, that's what it should have looked like. So it's just, I don't know whether you can give feedback to your working group. If you can, just ask them to change the problem up there into the same format, because like the students may have the same issue, because like,
Oh, yeah. This is how it would appear. This
oh,
is what
okay.
students would see right here.
Oh, okay,
This, I
okay.
don't know why it's listed twice, but yeah, this is how it would appear to students.
Okay.
No, good. I see what you're saying. Yeah, good feedback.
See, I
But it should
started
be
reading the
appearing
top
like
one.
this.
I didn't even see the bottom one until you highlighted it for me. So
Yeah,
yeah,
no,
these are
no, I
small
totally
issues, but
understand.
at the same time, that's, it's, if they have to really work hard at it, they're not just not going to do it. So
Yeah, no, it should be appearing like this to students.
okay,
That's what they would see. This is just the back end of the math text editor.
okay.
Let me close out these. I want to get you, and then because I want to get you into these assignments real quick. Yeah, I just want to get into this, like the item bank. So we're looking for question 9, or
Chapter 9.
chapter 9. Okay, all right. Oh, there we go. I got it. Let me close out these featured. So in chapter 9, there are 190 questions that are in here, and those comprise of the test bank questions, the end of chapter questions that are in the book, and then there are other questions as well. So I'll pull in the end of chapter questions. And so what I recommend doing when you're going through these is I recommend using these filters here: item type, answer type, special features, even difficulty.
Okay.
I recommend using these filters to kind of pare down those hundreds of questions. So I might start with end of chapter questions, because I feel like we've talked a lot about, there are a lot of conceptual questions in here, and they're good. But I'm not sure if that's what you're looking for more of. So I'm going to close out of those, or I'm going to collapse that as well. And so here's one from section 9.2.
Okay.
I can click on this and preview it. Pull in the solution. Okay, so I'll move through these questions. Just let me know if you need me
So
to
how do I now,
pop
for
to.
instance, this particular question, how do I know whether this is a homework question, test bank question, or not other question, but just by looking at it?
Yeah,
Can I see?
yeah, good question. So for this one, when I went through and selected all of the questions to be filtered out, these are all end of chapter questions. So these are actually the same questions from the book that you might assign from the end of chapter. So this is, let's see, it must be section 9.1, or no, it'd be end of chapter. It's question 1 from at the end of chapter 9.
Okay, let me check that.
Yeah. Or it might be section 2, question 1, but yeah, it should be in the book.
Yeah, that's the question number 1, end of chapter.
Okay. Perfect. So I guess before I move through these questions, would you want to use those end of chapter questions?
Yeah, I do use them. Yeah.
Would you want to assign them through mastering though as well? Would that be helpful?
Maybe, yeah. I already have the Word documents prepared for these, and I usually post them, right? Eventually, I can just transfer on to
Yeah.
mastering. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess, yeah, so you understand how that would work. Yeah. So if you wanted to move them into mastering,
Let's.
you wouldn't have to grade them. Um,
It's automatically graded.
yep. Yeah. It's
Okay,
automatically.
Corey, can you show me this? Let's say I want to go and select question number 1 and 2 from the end of chapter, and then I want to create an assignment, and show me how to create that assignment, and show me how the grading can be done, how I can make the grading easy for me. Just pick
Yeah.
2
Here.
questions. Yeah,
Look.
those 2. Yeah.
I'm gonna pick. I want to show you something real quick. So I'm actually gonna pick 8.
Okay.
I think it's 8. I hope
Just
that's the threshold, because we're able to pool questions as well. So when we go to that next step, I want to make sure I can show you what that looks like. As you're picking out questions, so this may be for the end of the chapter questions or the other questions that are in here. You do get data. It's the median time it takes for students to complete this nationally.
yeah.
And you also have like difficulty level, like usage statistics showing the difficulty level. So that's something to keep in mind as well as you're assembling these assignments. So I have my 8 problems.
Okay.
So you can go through in here, and even though this is the same problem, number 1 from that end of chapter question set, you can randomize the variable. So each student gets a slightly different question.
Different. Okay.
Or if you don't want to do that, you can turn that off as well. You can ask students for many of the questions. You can ask them, you can require units to be entered, or if that's not important to you, you can turn it off, If, for example, if all of these questions are from, section 1 and 2, and for you, it doesn't matter which questions they do. One way that you can kind of prevent cheating, if this, and this may not be applicable to a homework assignment, but if it's a quiz or a test, you can select to pool the assignment and say, okay, so we have 8 questions here. I want each student to do 5, and I don't care which 5 they do, but, so they would get a random 5 questions. It's just really just an option for you to kind of keep in mind if if that's something that you need to kind of curtail in class. The next step is going to ask us to tie learning outcomes. I'm going to skip it for now. So when you assign your due date, it's going to automatically set to 11:59 p.m. So I'll have this due next Friday.
Okay.
The availability automatically sets. It sets for 1 week ahead of the due date until when the class day ends. For this course that we're in, I have August 26th of next year as my end date. But for you, you would set up, May 15th or whatever. And so all of those assignments would close on May 15th. But for students, they can't get credit for them after the due date. They would just have those assignments in there to study for the exam if they wanted to go back and practice. Another option that you can add in, and so we're done with the assignment. We can hit save and finish, and that'll be assigned to all of my students. But another option that's in here is you can have an adaptive follow-up. So we have a test out option here. So you can say any students that scored below 75% on this assignment will have a follow-up assignment 3 days after the assignment is due. So if my student scores a 70% on this assignment, due 3 days later will be a follow-up assignment, and it's an adaptive follow-up assignment. So if I miss questions on the conservation of energy, my follow-up assignment will only contain questions from that topic. And so if you were a student in my class and you missed questions about a different topic, your follow-up assignment would only be about, so that's kind of nice as well. And then you can assign those, you can set them up as practice if you don't want to give credit. Lots of instructors, if the homework assignment was worth 5 points, they might change the homework assignment to 4 points and make the follow-up assignment worth 1 point. to kind of incentivize students to do it, or you can set them up as extra credit. So any student scoring below a 75% can earn 1 extra credit point by, doing well. They'd have to do well on it, obviously, but yeah. And so I'll save my assignment, and then, and that's it. We created our assignment for, this lecture. Yeah, I guess I'll kind of pause there. Do you have any questions about how to set up an assignment? And
yeah, no, I'm good. I'll look over the video, and it'll help me sort of remember. So now, supposing I want to go ahead and take care of grading, how is that done?
It'll be done automatically when the students complete the assignment. They'll get the feedback, and it'll say, it'll tell them how they did. So they'll say, you got 1, 3, 4, and 5 right. You missed, 2, 6, 7, and 8.
So how do they? I don't know whether you'd be able to show me this. I would say question number 1, problem 9.1. So when they're entering the grades, the responses, is it just a number that they put in?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. So it depends on the question, of course. For this question, the question is which has a larger kinetic energy, the bolt or the bullet bolt, right?
Can you pick a numerical problem?
Yeah, let me see. Hopefully I assigned one in here. Yeah, so this, oh man, yeah. So this is a good example. So they would enter this in, and if they enter this in, then they get points for it. And if they don't, if they didn't, then they won't get points for it.
So 84 kilometers per hour is the answer. Let's say they wrote down, they entered 83 kilometers per hour. That would be considered as a wrong answer, right?
Correct. Yep. Yeah, correct.
Right. But what they enter is just that number, 83 kilometers per hour. That's it. They work on it, they do it, and then they put the number in, and then it'll tell you whether it's correct or not. I see.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, it'll tell them whether it was correct, and then it'll tell them the correct answer as well. So if they entered 83.999 kilometers per hour and it's marked wrong, they'll see that. One thing I do recommend doing is if you are using these assignments, there's a preloaded orientation assignment. And I recommend that you assign that to students even before the first day of class, or, you can make it due whenever, but it walks them through how to use the mastering, how to use a math text editor. And so it kind of helps them with some of those basic mistakes that a lot of students make their first time through. It kind of coaches them through how to use it. So I do recommend that you assign that, prior to class or prior to the first assignment being due.
So 84 now for a student who has not done this this assignment or whatever that you said that I should assign at the beginning of the semester, 83.9 for 84 is practically the same thing. So how can they go about resubmitting it to get the credit that they want? Because they'd feel really upset if they entered 83.9 and they got it marked as wrong.
Yeah, that is up to you as the instructor. You have a lot of options in here in the grade settings about how many times the students can complete an assignment, whether they can complete it late, how many times they can complete individual problems.
Can I override too?
Yep. Yeah. And if let's say you decide, okay, no one is allowed, to submit any late assignments. No one is allowed to retry the assignment. You only get one shot at it. And then that first week, all these students come in and say, hey, I submitted 2.0001 and it was marked incorrect. You can go in and change that score.
Okay.
And it's easy. I mean, it's just really easy to do.
So can they, what if I don't want to get involved in that process, and they 2.01 is practically the same answer, right? So it's just can they get it ratified without getting involved? Or
for a homework assignment, I would probably recommend giving students either an option to try to try problems 2 or 3 times to get them correct for homework, or give them the option to submit it a second time for like lesser credit. Just because, when you're assigning a homework, because of the frequency of those, it's typically going to be a learning experience for them. So if they get 2 tries on a problem, or however you would set it up, but if they were to get 2 tries on a problem, they would just be able to fix it. They wouldn't be given the correct answer after their first time. But if you're that off on an answer, there was probably something that you missed, such as the instructions to express your answer using 2 significant figures.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
So hopefully they are able to correct it. But if they put in 2.01 again for a second time, you can fix it if you want, but chances are they're making an error that they should.
The question is, like, when they do the calculation in some problems, sometimes, like, we do tell them to sort of like, don't round off in the intermediate steps, just round off at the last step. Sometimes they do it even when we tell them specifically not to do so. So that rounding off in the intermediate steps results in an answer being wrong or off by a few decimal places sometimes. So now, if I'm grading this by hand, if somebody wrote down 1.9, I would consider that to be a correct answer. Just not talking about this particular question. I'm just looking at this
for
number.
Sure, yeah.
So basically, that as a human being, when I'm grading it, like 1.9, I know that the student has done it correctly because I get to see the answer choices. See the student's work, and I know what he has done, or he or she has done, is correct. So 1.9, even though it's off, I know that the work is right. So that's actually not possible here, right? So they would have to.
And I think that there's definitely a balance, because what this is going to offer time for you to be able to do something else. And so the idea is that they would do this at home, they would practice in their off time outside of lecture, become better at these concepts, and then when they come see you, if you still want to do if you still want them to turn in homework, you could assign 10 problems for homework and then bring in 2 problems handwritten, do 2 problems on paper, or 8 and 2. So they end up doing 10 problems for homework, and you can still have the human side that has the objectiveness, that you can do. So, if you're interested in this, I think that is, it's something that, it's not perfect by any means, but there are ways to get it close enough where the extra time you're gaining is more valuable than that time that would have been spent. And I think, if we go in and adjust your homework so that students can try it 2 or 3 times, some of those, like the silly things, they'll be able to fix on their own. If it is about rounding, hopefully they can, they're at a point where they can tell themselves, and, not all students are going to be here, but most of them, if they know they did it right and they have the wrong answer, they should go back, okay, hold on. The instructor told me that I need to make sure I, round at the end or round this way. And at the same time, for some questions like that, there are multiple answers that are accepted as well.
Okay.
This is a bad, this one obviously isn't, but for this one, this one is kind of a bad example for us to talk about that. Students should be able to get that right. I was going to kind of see some. Oh, here we go. This is a good example. So this is what I was looking for. Yep. Yeah. So this is the correct answer. And then they also accept these other options as well. And so, as you go through, you'll see these also accepted answers. And these are based on what has been what has been asked in the past and what has been answered in the past, and then also, you know, what has been reported as answers as well. Yeah, and here, I'm going to open up these settings. And if, you know, once you're ready to start creating your assignments, we can go through these together.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to go into the grading policy settings. And so you can allow students to take the assignment multiple times and keep the best score. Right now, because I have that adaptive follow-up, this setting won't work. But I can talk more about that if you're interested in having both as an option. You can choose when to show the assignment score to students, so it can be after the assignment's due.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that would be so that students aren't collaborating too much. You can give students no credit for late submissions, or you can have a reduction of credit, so give them 10% off for each day late. You can choose whether or not to show whether an answer is correct or incorrect. So that's kind of what I talked about, how students would find out whether their answer is what the correct answer is. You know, you can, if you have that students can do a problem 3 times, but you have a multiple choice question in there, yeah, you may not want them to get 100% credit on the 3rd try. So you would say, okay, they'll lose 10% for each answer they do, right? Each wrong answer they get in. Or maybe, I guess if it's multiple choice, you might take off like 25%. Yeah, same thing, deductions for incorrect answers. So if they put in 1.9 and the answer is 2, then this option, you could take a percentage off for that first try. As they're going through problems, they have, this is something I didn't really mention at all. There are hints and different feedback that they can get as they're doing their homework. So if they don't know how to complete a problem, you can choose whether or not there are hints and feedback available to them. After the due date, students can go back through and they can rework the problems for practice. You can set up assignment time limits. I see this used a lot for tests and quizzes. You know, you may set up a test so they only have an hour to work on it, so they're not spending, you know, infinite time perfecting their answers. Yeah, and there are a couple options down here that kind of help prevent collaboration. And then here, and I wanted to get in here as well. And we had kind of talked about the videos, and I've been chatting so much we haven't really, I didn't really get to those. Here we go. So yeah, so we've kind of talked about the videos. So we have, these are actually brand new. I think they got added in last summer, but we have these Anderson video lectures, and they have questions that are tagged along with them. So they watch a video on energy. Basically it's a lecture.
Yeah, he's really good. I watched him.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Yeah. Well, then I won't show you this. If you have the general idea. So I lost. Okay. So yeah, so they would watch the video
on energy.
Yeah, and then they would have questions based on that. And let me.
So how long are these videos generally?
It depends on the video. Let me see. It should have said in here. I guess we don't have data yet. So this video is 3 minutes long.
It's long, okay.
And then they have, it looks like just one question afterwards. So some of them will have multiple parts after, but this one looks like there's just one question based on that video. And these videos, I know you mentioned you would watch them, but they do a good job of balancing, you know, the theoretical, conceptual, and then the practice as well. Yeah. You know, it's kind of combined. And then we have other videos as well that kind of focus more on the conceptual side. You know, and then we have some animations that are more of like the practical. But so these are good as well. I like these. Let me see. This video is. This one's 10 minutes. This one's pretty long.
Yeah, his videos has the concepts discussed as well as numerical problems. So yeah,
Yeah,
I see that you are
yeah,
employing the Anderson videos.
yeah. So yes, we have these videos in here. Let me see. I know we have some conceptual. Oh, here we go. And then we also have like pre-lecture
Pre-lecture
videos.
videos, yeah, okay.
Yeah, this one will be conceptual.
Hmm.
And I know that because we have this other pre-lecture video and it's called the quantitative. So there's going to be a pre-lecture video. One's going to be conceptual. One's going to be like an exercise. And then we have this third type of video, which is like our coaching videos. You know, where they watch the video and then it's some sort of like, I'm not sure how to describe this, but you know, it's an assessment where it's conceptual, but it's more higher order thinking, and they're ordering different things, and a little more engaging, I guess, maybe. So
Yeah,
there are a bunch of different. If you're interested in videos, there are a lot per chapter that can be assigned.
so we are just looking at chapter 9 videos.
Correct. Yep. Yeah.
You're showing me the different options in chapter 9, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So So what I did was where, you know, chapter 9 was selected. I used these filters and I selected videos and animations. Yep. And so there are 17 that are in there. You know, hopefully it's more than you need. I think that's, you know, that is the idea, is that we are, you know, giving you more than is necessary. So.
Yeah, I think it's better than watching some random video on YouTube. Anderson videos, I really recommend them. They're really good. Like he does a really good job of explaining stuff. He's very patient. He does go through them very thoroughly. So
I was happy when those got added in. I thought that it was something that the book was really lacking. You know, I thought that was kind of a weakness of the book, and I think that I'm happy.
Those were added in the recent past.
Yeah, they were added over the summer.
Okay.
This past summer, and so this book is from I think 2017 was the copyright, and so you know, as new features like that are added, they just get added right into the book. You know, which is kind of nice about mastering compared to the physical book, is that, you know, in the physical book, nothing is added between revisions. Whereas in mastering, all of these updates are constantly being pushed out. And so the students are getting, you know, the mastering costs way less money than the book does. So, and they're getting, you know, a lot more.
Before I forget, Corey, like, did you send out an email telling them that that they have access to the textbook for more than a year? Forever, right?
Forever, yeah. Yep. Yeah. So they, for any of these, so, okay, let me back this up. So Physics 201, 202, 206 through 208 are all part of the Complete Digital Access Program, which is where they get the low price for the book. They get the access code sent to them by the bookstore, and it's a discounted price, and they don't have to buy it. It's part of their course fees. Any course that's part of that program has lifetime access to the e-text, and that's through VitalSource is the website. But those are the people who actually send out those access codes to students and everything.
So with the access code that they got from the library, they can access that book?
They don't even need to use the code. They just will sign in with their Dayton email address, and they'll have automatic access.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. And so, they just go, the website's VitalSource, which I'm not sure if you're familiar, but it is, I mean, it's the largest textbook e-text, I don't know, platform, I guess is the word, website. Okay. But they're big. So all of their books at Dayton are going to be on there. So if they take physics, biology, we have a handful of accounting courses, operations management, some of their engineering courses like steel structures, mechanics of materials. All of those courses are all in the CDA program, statics, dynamics. Yeah, I guess we have a lot of courses. but for your engineering students, especially if they're taking biology, they have almost all of their books they'll have access to forever, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, hopefully they're
That's
using
rather
that.
neat. Yeah, I
Yeah. So
remember you sending that email. I need to forward that to the students. I think you sent it right around Thanksgiving break. I thought I
yeah.
probably shouldn't send it out at that time. Now that the course is over, I will send it out because like they now I think they are much more free. They would look into it. They would take more notice
Yeah.
of it. So
Yeah. Please do. That's part of the program. I think that I always focus on it's going to save them money and they get on the first
yeah,
day of class and they don't have to shop around. But I think that one of the biggest perks that I kind of forget about is that lifetime access.
yeah,
And so so I think after a year or two, they may not be able to access it on the website anymore. So they'll want to download it to their computer, tablet, or whatever. But they'll always have access to it.
yeah. Okay. I'll be
Yeah,
sure to send that email to them. Yeah. So
please
this
do. Please
includes
do.
201 and 201 and 202, right? Both
Yeah, and Science 190.
190. Okay.
Yeah, Science 190, 201, 202, 206 through 208.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So I'll kind of pause there. I know we've gone through a lot. Do you have any questions, or I haven't shown you everything in here, but I've shown you a lot of, at least focused on kind of the things we talked about at the beginning, of kind of saving you time grading, giving students a better understanding of the conceptual, helping encourage students to read more, or
And
maybe, I guess.
if I can ask you, like those Anderson videos, do we have the ability to download them, or should they go in to mastering
Hmm.
and check those out?
Yeah, so those can be, so you can assign them as an assignment, and that's what we're looking at here.
Huh?
Students can also, let me click on the study video. I think you as an instructor can download them. I do not believe the students can.
Okay.
Oh, hold on. Sorry, I want to pull up this study area.
Yeah, the thing is, like, I like to keep Isidore as my primary place, like my primary course management system. So if I can download it and put the relevant videos up on my Isidore site, then they just need to go in and check those out, not anything else. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, let me see. Hold on. I think I might have gotten signed out. Let me sign back in real quick and see what happened there. Let's see, where's it going? Study area. Oh, there we go. Oh, sorry. Okay. So I guess this is not where I meant to go, but for students, they can come into the study area. And if you don't assign the Anderson videos as a homework assignment, they can come into here and they can watch them in here. But I wanted to see if we can download those on your end.
Let's say for a given chapter, there's
another
like 30 videos. I don't want them spending time trying to watch all of them. Like if I can select some good ones for specific topics, if I can download them, can I download them and add them onto Isidore? Do I have the capability to do that?
Yeah, let me see. And if not, what's that here? Let's see, it's downloadable. I don't think that those videos can be downloaded. I think that they must have to be viewed in mastering. One thing, oh man. Yeah, I'm not seeing them. I think that they would have to be viewed in mastering. So maybe, what we would want to do is we would want to just, if if you want your students to watch the Anderson videos, we would just assign those as a homework assignment to them. And then they would have the follow-up question, but you would know that they had watched the video. One thing we are going to be able to do in the future, and I think that almost every course that we have is doing this, aside from 206, 207, 208, is the mastering is going to be inside Isidore now. It's going to be integrated.
Okay.
The reason why we aren't doing 206, 207, 208 is because not everyone is using the same book. Okay. So because some instructors are using different books, we weren't able to. So, but for all of the other courses, I believe that they're going to be in Isidore now. Yeah. There we go. Yeah. So that's most of what's in here for you and for students. Once once you kind of decide what you want to use in here, if you want to let me know, I could also create a video for students walking them through mastering, which I know is, because it's kind of new to you, at least implementing some of these different aspects, that might be a good way to kind of help introduce students. And I could basically take what you and I have talked about today, but trim it down to a 5 to 10 minute video and just let them know, this is where your e-text is. This is some different features in the e-text. And then if you let me know, do you want them to use the dynamic study modules? Do you want them to look at the Anderson videos? And you let me know what you want them to look at. I'll show them where those different items are. And I can kind of do that from inside your course and show them what is, what areas they need to go to find the most success in mastering.
I see.
Would a video like that you can give to students be helpful?
Yeah, definitely, because I would still like to work with Isidore. So that will be my primary course management system. But I do see the value in using some of these features. So over the break, what I can do is to take a look at, maybe watch this video again, and then at leisure, go over the different features that mastering offers, and then decide what I would like to incorporate into the courses. And then I will let you know. And then, definitely a short video with instructions how to get to different places would be helpful. So I'll let you know.
Perfect. Okay. All right. Yeah, I'll put a little note in here. I can, I've made a handful of these walkthrough videos for, especially like some of the other courses at Dayton where, if you tell me, what you're going to incorporate, and then, if like, let's say, for example, you don't use the dynamic study modules, but you do like them, I can show students during that video and say, these are not part of your coursework, but this is another feature that may be beneficial. And if you just let me know what you're going to use, and then also what, you aren't using, but maybe you like, I'll show them how to use all of those things. And then I can send that to you and you can share it with them on the first day of class and let them kind of watch it on their own. And it'll just help them better understand where to go and hopefully find more success early on. But yeah, I'll send you this video once it's downloaded. It'll probably hopefully I can get it into YouTube, and then you can watch it on your own, and then shoot me an email as questions come up. And just let me know how I can help you.
Okay, wonderful.
Okay. All right. I'm glad we didn't try to put this into a half-hour meeting yesterday.
That would have been disastrous. Yes, no help at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry,
all right. Well,
I forgot yesterday.
No. No. Don't be sorry at all. Like I said yesterday, you have so much more on your mind. For me, my primary concern is getting you ready for spring. For you, your primary concern is still finishing up exams. So don't feel bad about it at all. That's I didn't want to bring it up for that reason. I was just thinking about how it just never would have worked. So But yeah, you let me know, after
Sure.
exams are over, take another watch, figure out what you're going to do. Thank you so much for meeting, and we
No
will,
problem, Corey. Yeah.
I,
Thank you.
I,
Thank you for
I
taking the
look
time
forward
to
to
go
hearing
over
from you.
everything. Yeah.
Of course. Thank you so much. You have good luck
Right.
on exams.
Thank you and have a nice day. Bye-bye.
Thanks, you too.